BM5000S Operator Guide.
Hello, I'm Edwins, and in this video I will cover the Bookletmaker 5000S System Stitching Head Operator Guide.
Contents: replacing wire spool. Open the top cover. Raise the top cover to service position. Obtain pliers from the stitching tools compartment in the front door. Cut the wire between the spool and the wire guide spring assay. In order to stop wire from unwinding, insert remaining wire in one of the holes, located on the side of the spool. Loosen the set screw in the set collar and remove the set collar from the wire spool shaft. Remove the wire spool. Before installing new wire spool, make sure that the wire is coming out from the bottom of the spool. Install the new wire spool so that it just touches the wire spool spring. The spring acts as a friction brake, and its purpose is to prevent the spool from spinning by itself and unwinding the wire. Install the set collar on the wire spool shaft. Push in the set collar and the wire spool so that the spring compresses approximately 2 mm. Note: when rolling out the wire, remember to press it down against the wire spool. Otherwise, the wire can unwind and get tangled. Remove remaining wire from the wire guide spring assay. To pull out the rest of the wire, push down on check valve collar. Cut off any damaged or bent wire. Feed the wire through the hole at the tip of the wire guide spring assay. Feed the wire over the wire guide pulley. Turn the wire threading lever clockwise to the off position. Continue feeding the wire down between the straightening rollers and into the hole as indicated. Continue to feed the wire and watch for it to come out past the gripper. For ease of use, take clippers to grab the wire. Feed the wire into the hole above the cutter and the faceplate assay. Allow the wire to enter this hole about 3 mm. Turn the wire threading lever counterclockwise to the on position. When wire spool is half empty, adjust the wire straightener counterclockwise by 30 to 90 degrees. Install the wire between the wire guides and between the thick and thin round felt pads. In case if tag 15 is not installed, install the wire between the wire guide rollers, between the thick and thin round felt pads, and rotate the felt pad by around 15 degrees. Feed remaining wire through the gap in the wire spring assay. Disengaging the stitcher head. Loosen the star knob. Move the stitcher clutch away from the stitcher head driver and tighten the star knob. Turn on the booklet maker. Select Tools, Stitching Head Configuration, set the Disengage stitching head switch to Disengaged and confirm. Engaging the stitcher head. Loosen the star knob. Move the stitcher clutch towards the stitcher head driver. Lift the stitcher head driver and mate with the stitcher clutch. Tighten star knob. Press Tools, Stitching Head Configuration, enable the stitching head and confirm. Changing staple position. To move the stitching head, lift the bonnet clamp eccentric handle. The stitching head can now be moved sideways to another stapling position. To avoid skew folding and damaged booklets, keep the stitching heads within the green lines. In the new position, push down the bonnet clamp eccentric handle to lock the stitching head. If the stitching head should be engaged in its new position, move the stitcher clutch to mechanically engage the stitching head driver. Tighten the star knob. To move the clinches, open Stitching Tools compartment in the front door and obtain 3mm hex key and clincher alignment tools. Loosen the set screw in the clinch lock. The clincher can now be moved sideways to align with the stitching head. To avoid skew folding and damaged booklets, make sure that you have set the right stitcher head position. To align the clinches to a stitching head, use the clincher tool marked L when aligning clinches for stitching heads 1 and 3. For stitching heads 2 and 4, use clincher tool marked R. In this example, the clincher for stitching head 2 is being aligned and we use tools R for such case. Place the clincher alignment tool flush on the side of the stitching head. Move the clincher so it touches the clincher tool. Both clincher tools can be used on either side to make access easier. Tighten the set screw. Make sure that the clincher is sitting tight and not moving. Press Tools, Stitching Head Configuration, set the new position to the stitching head. Confirm your selection. Changing stitching leg length. The stitching head is equipped with a 5-position eccentric adjuster lever assembly. This lever changes the length of wire used to staple the booklet. Here is the suggested wire length for booklets containing X number of 80 GSM sheets. The up position is the longest length of wire. The down position is the shortest length of wire. Removing stitcher head. Cut the wire between the spool and the wire guide spring assay. In order to stop wire from unwinding, insert remaining wire in one of the holes located on the side of the spool. Unhook the metal flap before the stitching head to avoid damaging it while taking out the stitcher head. To remove the stitcher head, lift the bonnet clamp eccentric handle. Stitcher head is now loose. Carefully remove the stitcher head. When installing back the stitcher head, remember to move bonnet clamp eccentric handle to 45-degree position. Insert the stitcher head back to its place and pull down the bonnet clamp eccentric handle to lock it into position. Place metal flap into its place. Clearing jammed wire. If a wire is jammed within the stitcher head, manually drive the stitcher head to its lowest position. Pull out the jammed wire with clippers. Cut the damaged wire. Push the check pole collar and pull out the wire. Pull the stitcher drive manually until the gripper is at its highest position. The gripper must remain open. If the gripper closes, cycle the stitcher head drive once more. Feed in the wire. Ensure that the wire passes the gripper. Use clippers to guide the wire into the hole before cutters, and feed in additional 2 to 3 mm of wire. Maintenance. Retrieve the oil canister from the front compartment door. Add a drip of oil in the designated hole. Perform this action when a wire spool is replaced. Add 2 to 3 drips of oil between the felt pads. Perform this action at every 10,000 stitches made.
And this concludes the Bookletmaker 5000S System Stitching Head Operator Guide. Thank you for watching and see you next time.